Is it that team that chose these ministers for the president?
Who?
Is it that team?
No, the team didn't.
What kind of role did they even play in these nominations in the first instance?
I wouldn't be able to say. I don't know who chose the team for Mr. President.
So will that team be relevant?
Of course, they'll be relevant. They will guide. They will guide. Their relevance is to guide Mr. President, because that team comprises of all the groups that are involved in APC, that finally emerged as APC. You will have members from AMPP, CPC, ACN, the new PDP.
So
and
he would have sent them that list first, you know. You people screen this list. Is it satisfactory to you before he now finally?
No, not is it satisfactory to you. No, he will send it to them for them to look at it. That these are my. Then it's for this team to raise objections and draw his attention to certain nominees. That look, Mr. President, if you pick this Mr. A from here, these are the kind of challenges we will have in the, you know, this is the kind of backlash, or this is the kind of protest, or this is the people's pulse.
There's nothing wrong with protest, is there?
There's nothing. Of course, that is the beauty and that is the lubricant that oils democracy. If there's no protest and you sit down there and think, Mr. President, everything you are doing is correct, it's not correct.
Because we don't even know what the Senate is going to do today. There have been reports that some of the ministerial nominees, some could not recite the pledge, and there were some gaffes here and there, and it's not quite sure whether or not all of these people are going to be confirmed today.
Let the Senate do the right thing, period. Nigerians are watching.
So if you see a situation where some nominees are not confirmed, would you take an issue?
Of course, I wouldn't have issues with it.
You wouldn't have issues with it
at all. I wouldn't have issues with it. That's why we have elected the Senate members to be there. That's their job. They are doing their job. I wouldn't have issues with it, and I would suggest and advise Mr. President not to have issues with it. He should take it in good faith. That is a sign of leadership.
That's including including the so-called controversial nominees.
No, that controversial nominee. I know you are talking of Ameti. Come out straight. There's no issue about him. If you have any issues with Ameti, go to court. It's simple as that. And we are in a political era. There's no way you can divorce politics from things like this. There's no way you can do that.
But then they will always ask, all those groups that you mentioned that can come together and raise concerns, are they speaking with one voice?
Not all those groups. This is a specific group that engineered, midwife this merger.
That came from all those...
Exactly.
Yeah, but...
And they did an excellent job out of it.
But after that...
That is the best brain of all these groups that emerge as APC.
But you know, okay, maybe you didn't, after that merger, there are those who lately, all of those reports we heard about the groups not being together, not being properly consulted. So many will then say, look, they're not sure that this group can still come together and recommend or advise the president if what people are saying is true about them not being on the same page.
If you bring them together with that spirit they use in engineering this merger, they will use that spirit in leading.
The spirit still exists.
It still exists. Just bring them together and they will do that. If you don't bring them together now, people are already going back to their cocoons where they come from, which is not too good for APC. These are the sort of things that started with the PDP. These are the sort of things that precipitated a rebellion against the PDP that finally emerged in their collapse. So don't ignore it, no matter how small they are. Don't ignore it. Take note of its substance and deal with it.
What about the leadership of the party? They have the National Working Committee of the party. Now you just mentioned the PDP, and what comes to mind is looking at you know, what went down before that particular election with the PDP, and you just also mentioned the NPDP. Looking at the APC now as it stands, the NWC and some of them who are also party leaders, that same consultation, should it have also gone into the party and the NWC and between or among party leaders?
This team I'm talking about will be a kind of a mechanism of managing conflict the team will be a go-between the president and the party, because it's encompassing. And with that kind of team and with that kind of mandate from the president and the party, nobody will feel excluded. Nobody will feel untreated fairly.
So what will be the role of the NWC and maybe the BOT?
Of course, they are working together. They are working together. Their main goal is to see the success of the party, is to manage the success of APC. And quickly, before I go, I want to talk about security. The president is doing very well in terms of security. What I want to advise Mr. President is that whatever it takes, wherever we can get some support, some advice, some experience from across the globe, we should get it. We should look towards the Russians and the Chinese for help and support. Why I'm saying this is that I didn't like, although with due respect to Mr. President, he has more information than I have at my disposal, and he has a military background. That timeline he gave the military, that this thing must end by December, I think it shouldn't have been made public. Should have made it quietly within his within the security people.
You don't think it will work?
No. Even if it does not work, Nigerians will not hold him for it, because they have seen commitment, they have seen political will and passion and zeal on the side of the military to deal with the situation. And I'll be at the forefront to campaign for Nigerians' understanding if they cannot meet that deadline. Look at it globally. Which country has been able to uproot insurgents permanently?
Yeah, but don't they have all those information before he made that statement?
That's why.
So if you make that statement and you're not able to keep it, why should we then trust you if you make further statements and you maybe see commitment and you still don't meet it?
That's where I'm coming to, that making that statement, some of the people and the countries outside that don't wish us well will cash in on it. If you see, if you notice now that there is a bombings in some soft targets now, it has increased. But like I told you earlier, Nigerians will show some understanding if it's an honest mistake, because they've seen commitment, they've seen political will, they've seen sincerity.
Is that if they say that was a mistake?
Of course.
If they don't say it's a mistake, why should we consider it a mistake?
The president is not a superhuman being. It's only God that does not make mistakes.
Granted, but we're saying if they don't admit that, okay, look, this was a mistake, why should people say it was a mistake?
Of course, let's get there. But I'm telling you in advance that when we get there and we don't meet that goal, we should show some understanding.
But people are saying you don't need to wait till you get there because they don't see.
No, he has already mentioned it. He has already said it publicly that this is the timeline.
But you said that doesn't look like if that's going to work.
No, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I'm just saying that if it does not work, we should please show some understanding.
Okay, but do you think it will work?
It will work with the kind of zeal they have shown.
So why do you say he should make it private if you think it will work?
You have to, in such situations, you have to work with what worst case scenarios. You can't be that, it's only God that can be sure of what will happen. You can't be that sure. There are things, there are exigencies, there are things that will come to play and change the dynamics. What do you do about it? You have no control of that.
Do you think the internal workings or the politics within the party is affecting governance? Today we're hearing people, politics within the party is affecting governance on a larger scale, because today several groups are complaining about the economy.
In as much as I respect the views of those groups, I want us to give Mr. President the benefit of the doubt. Let this cabinet come in. By the end of this year, I'm sure the cabinet would have been in place. If we don't see a clear direction economically, at least I'm happy to say that the group is not saying they've not seen a clear direction on security. They've not seen a clear direction on fighting corruption.
It's economy that they feed. That economy has
of course,
got
he
to
cannot
be
do.
strong.
You can't put all this. You can't cook three. You can't put 3 pots in one burner at the same time. It has to be one at a time. And he's doing well, but there are some pockets of areas he needs to correct. That's what we are saying. And quickly too, these corruption agencies, anti-corruption agencies, they need to be properly funded. Like the ICPC, as an NGO, there are times and opportunities that we have worked together. You can't believe it that they have no operational vehicle, and their operatives are not armed. And I would suggest that the ICPC, agency like the ICPC should be on first line charge.
All right. Alhaji Muhammad Yakubu is a National Executive Council member of the Arewa Consultative Council. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. And I would want to say I'm not speaking on behalf of Arewa Consultative Forum. These are my personal and private views.
All right. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.